All right, folks, welcome to our knee pain program. All right, so if you're having issues with your knees and that we're filming this video for our community, but also as a follow along to sort of our trainerized knee pain program. So for this, guys, you're going to need tennis ball, foam roller, and a block, as well as a sock eventually. I always have those around. So what we're going to start with, so when we talk about knee pain, we want to think about kind of our knee is in between our foot and our hip. Both of our hip produces force down, our foot produces force up. So our knee is oftentimes kind of the slave to those two things. We want to get those areas as loose as possible. So what we're going to start with is just what we call a foam roller squish. So I'm going to take my foam roller. I'm going to sort of sit on it to begin with here. I'm going to straighten this leg out, and then I'm going to roll onto my side. Okay, I'm going to put my hands in front of me like this, and I'm just going to roll from side to side. And we're just going to do this one for about a minute. Alternatively, if this feels like death, or if this is awkward, we'll use a ball in a second, or we could even use something as simple as a yoga block. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But again, we're just I'm not rolling up and down. I'm breathing in and kind of going forward. I'm exhaling, I'm going back. Just really getting into that area. Oftentimes a muscle at the top of your hip can tighten up, squeeze everything down the chain, and then we have problems. So we're just going to do this. I'm going to move to my ball here real quick. So for this one, I'm going to put the ball here. I'm just going to let it sink in, straighten this leg out, and just kind of do the same thing. Just kind of rock back and forth. Ball is actually much worse. So if you have a foam roller and you could get onto it, please use it. You're going to thank me. So we'll just stay here for about maybe 20 seconds. And you can, pause the tape, grab your ball, or use your foam roller, whatever it may be. We're going to go ahead and move to the other side here. And, let's just kind of compare what side feels different, what side feels, the same. And we'll just sort of get into this area. Now, what I can also do is bend over my roller more to make it harder, or really the other thing that's going to make it harder is the ball. I'm just getting into this area, breathing in as I go forward, exhaling as I go back. Just trying to put some motion into this area. Now for fun, let's just compare what it feels like with the ball. You come in here. Ooh, man. For me, especially on this side, really the ball gets in there a lot more. The other thing with this is that we want to pick something that doesn't feel like we're getting stabbed. So like if the ball is super, super, super hard and it doesn't allow us to relax over it some eventually, then we want to use the roller, or you could even use something smaller like a pool noodle. As we get, as we're able to loosen up to some degree, we can grab things that are a little bit harder, but you want to start with the lightest implement possible. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and move to our calf. Okay, and so I'm going to start my lower calf. Oftentimes, and really for this too, oftentimes the inner calf is the thing that is going to hurt most. So I'm going to start there. You can also choose to go to the outside, but I like to bias it a little bit more to the inside. And I'm just going to take my foot, kind of work this area. I just spent about 30 seconds here. I can just kind of move my foot in different directions. Just trying to let it sink in a bit. Just move it up a little bit. Again, just letting it sink in here and just sort of picking the spot that feels most stiff or tight. Spending a little bit more time there. When I say a little bit, I mean maybe 30, 60 seconds more. Okay, like if we're doing this for 5 to 10 minutes, I've seen people who have gotten like black and blue in an area because they spent too long there. So don't turn your tissue into hamburger. Just eat the hamburger, it's better. And we're going to just, I like to kind of do maybe 10 clockwise, and then 10 counterclockwise. And we'll just switch sides real quick. Down here. So you can do it so you guys can see this here. Down here again, just making circles. And if this is super hard, like for me right here, this is quite a lot. So just take my foot away. And just go in the opposite direction. Move it up a little bit. Just letting it sink in, trying to breathe into it. Go in the other direction. And just move it up just a little bit more. Get in here. Just move in the opposite direction here. Now, just very quickly, it wouldn't be a party without rolling our foot. We'll just stand up for a second. Just let this sink in. And when I'm rolling my foot, I want to put my weight over it to the degree that I can actually feel the ball deform a bit here. Just again, just sort of slowly wiggle my toes, or just find a spot that is pretty stiff. Just let it sink in here. Move it to the front. Holding. Let's see the other side here real quick. Move it to the middle. And we're just going to move to the edge here, or to the heel. All right. Should have taken a little bit of tension out of the hip and the lower leg. Now we're going to just go ahead and move to some cars. And what cars means are just their rotations. And so controlled articular rotations. I'm going to put my finger right here below my kneecap. I'm going to take my hand and I'm just going to, it's almost like I'm twisting this in, right? So my foot goes in and I'm just using my hand to help to twist my tibia, which is this spot where I am, along with it. So this like whole lower leg is just going to go from side to side here, or sort of swivel externally and internally 10 times. Just kind of holding here and holding here. Just kind of make a note of maybe which side doesn't move as well. Spending a little bit more time pushing into that side. And just sort of thinking about how good it's going to feel to free up our leg here. Let's just do like 3 more. All right, next we're just going to do an ankle car. All right, so for ankle car, basically what I'm doing is this area now doesn't move. I'm just doing a big circle with my ankle. The other thing is that I want to try to just keep my toes somewhat relaxed. We'll do 2 more. All right, and last but not least, we work on our toe. Okay, so our toes oftentimes can be a real limiting factor, the inability to push through our toes. So what I want to do is, first of all, your toe, if your toe is here, I want you to think about separating. Okay, so we're going to separate. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to attempt to lift my toe. I'm just going to help it with my finger, because if I just do it, my toe's going to want to do that. This is why we get bunions, is because kind of everything swivels out. We end up pushing through the outside of the foot versus through the toe itself. So I'm going to just kind of pull this apart, and we're just going to lift up and down about 10 times. All right, and as I get better at this, I can remove my hand. So I'll just do a couple reps that way. And you can see that I can't get quite as high without deviating in, but I'm just kind of working the active range of motion that I've got. And yeah, again, you'll find that maybe like one side is a little bit more challenged than the other, and you spend a little bit more time on that side. So again, we're just going to do 10 swivels on this side. And then slowly kind of just focusing on the in, focusing out. Very slow and controlled movements. And from here, we'll just go to our ankle. So you get to look at my lovely feet here, which actually, for some reason, I got a tan a little bit here. They're not as white as normal, so they're just shiny. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And again, I'm just moving really slow, making note of any pinching that I feel, and also making note of, like, I don't want that to move. So if I get to a certain place and this starts to move, then I'm just going to make my ankle circle a little bit smaller. That just indicates I might not have as much motion on this side versus the other one. And that's okay. You just want to kind of gradually work on that motion. We'll get more as we go along. The more you do this, your knee is going to feel like butter, which is good. Butter is, in the context of the way that your knee feels. Eating it a lot, you go either way. My grandma used to use lard. It's good. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to hit our toe here. So again, hold these down. You can kind of get an appraisal first of what's going to happen. So like I can get to about here right now without my toe wanting to go to the side. So I'm going to hold my toes down. I'm just going to lift up and down, just very slow and controlled. I'm not moving quick. Just moving, trying to get that motion out of this toe. And then I'll just try a couple of my own here. And then I can just kind of recheck. And I got a little bit more. It feels a little bit more mobile. So again, you're over time, you're going to see gradual gains is what we want. All right, so we're just going to do one more set of the last part of this. For this first exercise, so our goal, once we kind of free everything, is to get you to get your weight over the middle of your foot. So we're going to take a foam roller. We're going to get our weight on the middle of our foot. So the inside of our foot, right in this area, kind of between here and here. We want both of these areas to be pressurized to some degree. What I'm going to do is place my feet on the roller. And if you have it, you can also squeeze a yoga block between your knees. Okay, from here, that is giving me a little bit more roll in. I'm just going to sort of lift from the middle of my foot. Kind of just tuck my hip off the ground slightly, just a little bit. So I'm not doing a bridge. I'm just doing kind of a roll up. And it's just a little one. I'm putting a lot of pressure through the inside of my feet. I'm just holding here for about 30 seconds, just holding. My hamstrings working. feeling the weight on the middle of my feet. It feels good. Yeah, we got like 15 seconds. I really like hamstrings. You train with me, you know that. Maybe one more. Beautiful. All right, we're going to stand it up. For this last motion here, we're just going to work on getting over our midfoot. What that means is that we want to kind of use the various motions of the foot, and oftentimes we're kind of stuck in one part of the foot. So like you have a flat foot, or if you're kind of have a super high arch, this is for you here. So what I want you to do is we're going to take our sock and put it right under our big toe. Okay, we're going to and we're going to start in a split stance like this, and I want you to start with your weight on the opposite leg. So my weight's on my right leg right now, okay, but I'm going to kind of proceed to my left. So the way this is going to work is that my weight's on my right leg. I want to shift from, I want to gradually come forward, feel my weight start at my heel. So I'm in my heel, but also sort of outside of my heel. Now, as I get super heavy into the middle of my foot, at a certain point, I can feel all my weight go onto this left leg. Okay, I can also kind of feel my knee go over my big toe. Okay, and then I'm going to shift back. So my weight is again the outside of my left heel. So I'm going to slowly go forward, try to make this sock heavier, try to get into the middle of my foot. And actually, let's take our sock for the next couple reps and put it in the middle of our foot. Let's ball it up a little bit, because this is going to give us a better representation. So I'm on the outside of my heel. And now as I come in, I'm just trying to make that sock heavier. Getting to the inside of my foot, kind of right behind my big toe. And I'm going to come back, again, get wider on my foot, weights in the outside of the heel. And I'll get heavier over the foot, weights over the big toe. Sock is super heavy. Let's just do a few more, just maybe like one more. And now let's just switch sides. So again, turn the outside of the heel. Make sure to ball up your sock so it's kind of like a mattress or something. And you want it on the inside of the foot. So I don't want it like, it's not right in the middle, more on the arch. So I want to feel that arch come up as I'm on the outside of my heel. And I want to feel that arch flatten as I go over my big toe here. I'm just going to do about 4 of these. Holding here, coming off, holding here, coming off. Let's just do 2 more. All right, and that's about it. And again, you can do multiple sets of this, but even just running through this stuff once is really helpful. So give this a try. Let me know if you have any feedback, and if you like this, share it with your friends.